Hello, I am Mystic Orange and this is video hashtag 621. In this video, I'll be reviewing Winx Club Season 4 Episode 6. I didn't want to review this episode, however, I would have to say this is probably my least favorite episode of Season 4. I really hate this episode. I have so much frustration about this episode and I want to voice my opinions on it. This episode makes me feel like they should have ended at season 3 or at least the first movie. Because, like everything after, the first movie, everything is like dropping quality. It's just not the same. And I think we've dragged out Winx Club very long. I also wanted to point out what someone said in one of my communities, not the Winx Club community, but like in like fandom in general. So this isn't related to Winx Club at all. I remember someone saying like they hate it when a series doesn't end or a show doesn't end, and you know what? I can understand that, and I kind of agree with them. And I feel like this applies to shows like Winx Club or Ruby or SpongeBob, Simpsons, or like most adult cartoons, really. But this really applies to Winx Club. It seems like the show doesn't want to end. And really, I think, the first movie should have been the final thing of Winx Club. If we have to be like realistic here, as an objective point of view, this is kind of like the end of Winx Club, right? Like how the show should have ended. Because, the whole point of the show is Bloom's journey. Like her journey is like, she's adopted. She's supposed to, break away from, her home life. She's supposed to, seek out her parents and, restore her own world of Domino. And at the end of the movie, she gets her wish. She frees her parents and Domino's is restored. And, that's her whole arc. And that's how we should have ended Winx Club overall. I compare this to like shows like, Avatar The Last Airbender or movies like Harry Potter, where like characters have a set goal. Like, in Avatar The Last Airbender, Aang's world, in the air nomads has been, demolished by the Fire Nation. As and Lord Ozai, is, and his fathers are one of those people who like disrupted the balance of life. And it's, Aang's duty to, to stop the cycle of his lineage of destroying the precious life of, Aang's world. And that's how the show ends. It ends with, Aang and Lord Ozai battling it out and, Aang taking away the fire that was once with Lord Ozai. This can be similar to Harry Potter. I haven't really watched Harry Potter, but I am aware of like Harry Potter. He does have like adoptive parents, and I think he wants to take out. I forgot the guy. I can't believe I forgot who he is. Oh wait, I just thought of his name. Is Voldemort. Okay, so he would take down Voldemort. And that's the case with Bloom in Winx Club. Like that's how it should have ended at the first movie. I mean, I don't mind the season 4 onwards. I feel like for those seasons, we should have focused the having resolution for the other characters or having their arcs, be done. Like Misa, Stella, Techno, Flora, Layla, especially Layla, considering that she started her journey at season 2. So I think characters like them need their like stories being resolution resolved, and we can be done with the series. And someone else pointed out, like, if we, I actually don't mind like season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I don't really like 6, 7, and 8. I don't mind 4 and 5, but it's not as like great as 1, 2, and 3. Like, there's parts of season 4 and 5 I do like, and I can't say the same for like 6, 7, and 8. Those are just terrible. But if you want those things, they could be their own their own series. Kind of like, imagine like Scooby Doo or like a Ben 10. They will have different franchise, different shows of their own series. Like, there'll be Ben 10 Alien Force, Ben 10 Omniverse, Omnitrix, and then there's Scooby Doo. Where are you, Scooby Doo? What's new, Scooby Doo? Biku Scooby Doo. And yeah, it should have been like that. Anyway, I've talked about this long enough, so let's back into the show. By the way, it's episode 5. I will set the wrong episode number. Before we get into the show, I want to start off by having an intermission. And this intermission is about, having an intermission in my channel. I think if you noticed in my last 16 review, I also added an intermission in that episode and that video. So what I'm gonna do, whenever there's a bit where I'm supposed to talk about the theme song, instead of that I'm going to have an intermission. I think it works for this channel. I was inspired by Quinton reviews, and I wanted that same way to my channel. This is a way I can, break away and talk about something different before we, talk about something else, like the rest of the review. I think it works for like shows like Winx Club and 16 while I'm reviewing them. But like 16 has a different way of, showing their theme song because, it's parodying, sitcoms. And, in sitcoms, they will have a bit of the episode before they have the theme song. So for a normal review like Winx Club or other show that follows the having the theme song at the start, it would seem like a normal transition. But shows like 16, it would seem like it would be like a weird interruption, but I don't mind that. I think it works for the way I, review the show. By the way, check out Quinton Reviews, who inspired this part of my, channel. So we start off the episode where like the girls are in the Enchantrix form. I think they're looking for the last Earth fairy. They're trying to look for the magic trail or the last Earth fairy, and it seems like they're giving up and are about to go home. And in this moment, Stella is really tired and is sleeping while she's flying. I think that's just a normal problem for, the fairy of the sun and moon. You know how they say like having a character that sleepwalks? Stella's that type, she will sleep fly. So like, she'll be sleeping while she's flying. And I hate this bit where like Stella's reminding me of the worst moment of the last episode, where like the Winx and the Specialist have this argument, where like the Winx are mad at the Specialist for helping them, even though that's what they did like in the past 3 seasons. It's just stupid. In the next part of the scene, we're at the pet shop. I think the Wizard of the Black Circle sneak in. Thanks to Demon and his shape-shifting abilities. I think he has the best abilities. It's kind of like how Whiskers, uses metamorphosis. I think this is really cool. I also liked it where, like, Ogron was, congratulating Demon. I feel like this is like a bro moment between them, and I thought it was cute. I think I really like the Wizard of the Black Circle. They gave me wholesome vibes, even though they're villains. But I also think, like, how did they know that this is the Winx girls, fairy shop? I think, th- I don't like when things don't get explained. Like, I think Gatlos has that ability where he can, see where things are. Kind of like how, like, um, the tricks might have a crystal ball. Sometimes Lord Darker will have one on his on his wing, and then like I think Valtar had one as well, like where he's like project. He'll see other people through his globe thing. But I feel like it's not just Winx though. I feel like it's any like magical fantasy show. I remember in Imagination, this villain named Agram, he would like take Orwin's staff, and with that, he's able to see everything, and so he would see the protagonists and the heroes. It would be like this miraculous with the Hawk guy. I just think it's really convenient for the villains to do this. I would appreciate, if we had like villains who are a bit smarter, who will search themselves. Because I think, the crystal ball thing is like overdone, I feel like. Like in Avatar The Last Airbender, I'm pretty sure like the villains, didn't always know what the heroes were because they didn't have this sort of ability. Like if a character was like Azula, she didn't just create like a TV on the ground to see where Zuko went. Like she made her effort, to search out for these characters. So the Wizard of the Black Circle cast a spell at the fairy pets to get back at the Winx. In my opinion, this is a lame way to get back at the Winx. Could you imagine Lord Arca or Valtor, casting a spell on our fairy pet to get back at the Winx? Like, first off, the tricks would have summoned monsters out of the Wisperian crystals. Secondly, Lodaka could have had shadow creatures go after the Winx, or better yet, he can turn Kerbog into like different monsters to attack the Winx. And thirdly, Valtor would have put a spell on the witches or mermaids, his minions to attack. This is kind of an underwhelming, strategy from the Wizard of the Black Circle. I do love them though. In the next scene, the specialists have found our place to stay. And I do like their apartment though. But then Timmy, offers some clothes to the guys just to blend with the Earthlings and also, give the, specialists some new duds. I mean, their casual outfits from season 3 is enough, for them to blend with the crowd. But I feel like characters like Helia, Brandon, and Raven definitely need their clothes to be, changed. But it's a shame because Sky, Nabu, and Timmy's outfit, the ones that they are currently wearing from season 3, I really like those outfits and I feel like it fits them. I have to be honest, I never really liked Brandon and Rivers' outfits. I'm not a huge fan of muscle shirts, and I can imagine Brandon and Riven wearing better outfits than this. Honestly, there was that one scene in season 3 where Riven was going to the Golden Kingdom, and he was wearing that red and blue jacket. I think that jacket would have looked good on him, and I think that should have been, his standard casual outfit. I think that's a better move. And as for Brandon, I think I know that he does get a better outfit, and it's that green outfit in like season 5. I think he was in season 4 as well, but like I see it a lot in season 5, and I prefer that because he wears like pink and green, and I think that's sort of color I associate with Brandon. As for Helia, I think he did wear that one orange outfit in season 3, and I think that's the best outfit of Helia. Timmy's orange hoodie always looked cute to me. I also liked his lime, t-shirt in season 1. Sky always looks good to me in all of his outfits. So I'm not scared of if he changes, but I do like his current one, what he's wearing, like with his blue jacket, red top underneath. And I think, Nabi wearing his outfit, I think, it's purple and it's giving like Indian aesthetic because I think it's supposed to be like a shalwar kameez and, it's what it reminds me of. Like it reminds me of like kurtas and all that. Like let Nabi continuing wearing like Indian outfits. Like I think that would be great instead of wearing like typical English outfits. Like if you want to make Nabi wear casual outfits, let him wear kurtas. Like we don't have to westernize his outfit to appease the Western audiences. Anyway, clothes being sorted, the guys need to know how to make money in Gardenia. They can't just use the money from like magics because it won't apply here. They're going to have to adapt to Earth systems. And to me, I think that means finding a job in Gardenia. But they need to be in this mission so they can support the Winx, while they are here. Kind of like the girls' backup. I hate it when they're bringing up past, problems. It's so annoying and so dull and boring. Like we know about the stupid drama, why are you dragging so long? Do the writers think this is smart? But it really isn't. Like Stella already, brought us up, and now Healy is doing it now. Why? Also, the writers are so dumb. They make Timmy say the worst line ever, and I feel like this isn't what Timmy would say. He says that the Winx should stop being so friendly with those Earth guys. That's not what Timmy would say. It's as if they think that, Timmy is being jealous of the girls hanging out with the Earth guys. That's not what Timmy would be doing. This is If anyone, that would be Sky or Riven. Those are the two guys who were vocal about, the incident in the Fruity Music Bar, and it was mostly like Bloom, Misa, and Stella who were flirting with, Dandy's band. It wasn't like Techna, Flora, and Layla. And I feel like Timmy wouldn't be the type to be, jealous of the girls, hanging out with the boys. Like Timmy is much more mature than those guys. Like Sky is a typical person, who would be like jealous of a horse. That's not Timmy. If anyone, even if like Techno was, having a fling with another guy, I think Timmy's the type of person, who would embrace this situation and, he would celebrate with Techno with, this fling she had. I think the writers are just too dumb and stupid. And I think that's not just Timmy either. I feel like that applies to Helia, Brandon, and Nabu. And you know what? I feel like that applies to the girls as well. Stella wouldn't be the type of person to be jealous of a guy going out with another. In season two, Stella and Brandon made a game out of the relationship. I don't think she would be, jealous of that. I think the writers need to get their heads out of their asses. And then Raven found a job for the guys, to work at, and it seems to be like a mechanic shop. You know what? Raven strikes me of a person, he'd be the type that'd be into cars. That's what he comes across, and I feel like he would be into that. I used to have, classmates, who would be obsessed with, cars and, all that nonsense. I wasn't one of those, but I did have classmates who I did hang out with, and I bet you Raven's all like that. I bet he's one of those guys, like he'll have like an expensive car, and he'll be obsessed in riding it. Like he would show off his cars to his friends and his girlfriends. I like that this guy is called Mr. Oil. I kind of think it's funny, but I don't hate it. The boys try to, fix a car for the mechanic job, but there's a problem. The cars in Earth are quite primitive, and since the boys are from Magics, they're not used to Earth technology. In the next part of the scene, we're at, the pet shop. The girls are continuing doing their work. It does, feel like a time waster sometimes. Like, I understand that these girls are working, but it seems like, we repeat the same things. Like, Bloom would, show the customer to, like, what the girls do. Like, Stella, doing the shampooing, and, Flora being the nurse, and Layla being the trainer. To me, it feels like the writers are padding out the episode with these scenes. But we do get to see Mike and Vanessa collecting the money from Bloom, for helping them. I think the business is kind of booming. People are adopting their pets. According to Techna, there is one individual who's trying to buy more than one pet. And the rule of this, website is that no more than one pet. That way, everyone can have one. We then see Mitzi, her usual horrible self, but it's nice to see Mitzi again. She reminds me a lot of Heather from Total Drama, well, based on her outfit choices and her hairstyle as well. And I'm kind of reviewing the Ray version of this, um, episode, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the voice actress for Mitzi for this one. I much preferred the one she had in season one. I'm pretty sure she had a better voice there. I'm talking about the Cinelume season one Mitzi. I kind of liked her voice. The last time we saw Mitzi, she hosted a Halloween party to prank on the Winx. By the way, Mitzi just, adopts a fairy pet, and this made me think, really, isn't the point of the Winx girls they don't want to reveal their actual identities? They don't want to be want everyone to know that they are the Winx girls, but simultaneously they want people on Earth, to believe in magics. They want the Earthlings to believe in fairies, and I can understand that. Like, how didn't anyone pick up on that? Like, they are the ones who are running this fairy shop, or like fairy pets. Like, these girls are sending out pets through the computer. Like, shouldn't the people from Earth, find that suspicious? Especially Mitzi, considering that, she tried to suspect Bloom in the beginning. I mean, why are they called the fairy pets? So after feeding the fairy pets, they turn into monsters. And it seems like, the Winx have to fight them. This is the work of the Wizard of the Black Circle. This made me think, like, what was the wizard's plan for turning the fairy pets into monsters? Like, there must be a reason. Like, when the tricks, summon monsters, there was always a reason why they summoned the monsters. Like, for example, when they summoned the Minotaur, it was so, like, the monster can distract the Winx, so they can search for the dragon flame in the school. They also summon the nightmare monster, so the monster can drain the girl's energy while they're like dreaming and sleeping, and they can take Bloom's power by this point. And they summon the Yeti to destroy the girls while they're at the domino. So, in a way, to get the Winx out of the way from conquering the magic world. Like if you're having monsters, there must be a reason for it. But I don't know what the reason is for turning their fairy pets into monsters. Because I don't think the Wizard of the Black Circle do anything else. Like, does this give them a time to search for the last Earth Fairy without the Winx, distracting them? But wouldn't the best thing to do is, use the Winx as a bait, like to track the last Earth Fairy? So the Winx, try to take the monster outside, and they try to fight the monsters outside. But while they're leaving the pet shop, shouldn't the people on Earth notice that fairies coming out of that place? If it was me, I would like put the two and two together. Like these things connect with each other. Okay, we come to the scene where we find out why I hate this episode so much and why I consider this as my least favorite episode. This is the worst fight choreography I ever seen whatsoever. Like we have the Winx turning the monsters back into fairy pets. They're all doing that. But while they're, fighting and, helping the monster to turn back to their beloved fairy pets, in a distance, Ogron and his wizards can see what's happening and, like, they're trying to control the situation, like, from a distance. But this looks so goofy. Like, how did no one see that Demon just came in, just to break free the monsters? It's just pathetic and so dumb. The Wizards would, have a better fight than this. This makes them look really pathetic. And I wholeheartedly blame the writing of this. And I don't blame the Wizards part of this. Because knowing the Wizard of the Black Circle, I know they would hold their own against the Winx Club. They wouldn't, shy away by sabotaging from the sidelines. But I did like Layla's morphic spell called Plasma Shape. It's where she creates like a version of herself in a plasma form. She did this before in like season 2 when the girls were doing convergence. So they created this humanoid person. It's so fun when Layla uses her morphic powers. They're really fun to see. But if I had to say like who has the best powers out of the six girls, it is Layla because she has Morphic's powers and they are so cool and versatile. I think Techno's power would be like my second favorite, but like Layla's power is always my number one favorite for me. And I think Morphix is a unique like power that's created in Miss Club universe that's not created anywhere else. So what Layla does is like create Morphix out of like water molecules and such things like that. So you could say like she's like the group's ceramic maker, but you could say like her power, like being plasma, is also something unique as well. Like she can create like plasma balls, right? And I think that's a unique like power as well. I'm sure Techno also has that ability as well to use like plasma because it's kind of like a pink electric ball, isn't it? I'm wondering if this sort of spell is like unique to Winx Club, like plasma in general. But I do think there is another show where like this sort of style of power has been used, and that's I think is Ben 10 Alien Force. I think Gwen has that power. I don't think it's called Morphix or Plasma in Ben 10 Alien Force, but I think, Gwen has that magic ability, which is similar to what Layla has. Musa states that, the fairy pets do not like high pitched sounds. And you know what? That's kind of true, and her power would be useful right now. I wonder if Musa's power will be least useful against um, animals that lack hearing or any opponents. But I guess if her power has to be effective, she could just use vibration magic against deaf opponents. And sure, now people notice fairies in the sky. And why are they scared? Shouldn't they know that the fairies are defending them? At this point, the wings should try to ignore what's happening down below. Like in general, it's their duty to protect the Earthlings from these monsters. Prioritizing that is more important right now than their image. But I think um, I do like that Stella comes up with this idea of like them pretending shooting a film. That's clever on Stella. We love her for this. The specialists seem to notice the fight between the fairies and the fairy pets. They go off to assist the Winx. Riven makes a statement that's saying like the girls wouldn't be happy to see them, and I kind of agree with him. Like last time, the girls weren't so happy to see them, and they think they can handle things on their own, and they're like they don't want the boys' help. So if I was Riven, I'd be like, yeah, they don't need our help. Let them all die. But for this instance, the girls really don't need the boys' help. They're facing off their fairy pets. All the girls need to do is like turn the monsters back to their fairy pets. And I guess to find out the antidote to their problems. But I don't understand the solution of turning the monsters back into their fairy pets. So when the fairy pets are like in stress, they eat their foods and they turn into monsters. But to solve the solution, they also have to eat food. What about using fairy dust? I just thought of this. They haven't been using fairy dust throughout season 4, and that's crucial part of Enchantix. Oh, I hate this bit too. Another reason why I hate this episode. I understand like the girls being like, they don't want the boys' help, in this instance they don't need the boys' help. But why are they being so rude toward the specialists? It's the rudeness that I can't handle. I know that the fandom keeps egging on the specialists, but I don't think they are at fault here. Not all boys are problematic, but some girls can be problematic. And for this instance, the girls are being problematic. There's no sugarcoating it. Like this scene makes me want the Winx to be killed. I'm serious. Like Bloom says, do you want to help us, or is it because you don't trust us? And this makes me want to like smack her and the girls all at once. I hope the Wizard of the Black Circle comes and kills you all. That's how badly I hate this. And I'm not gonna repeat myself from what I said before. Like, they're not. It's not. They're not helping you because they don't trust you. They help you because they care about you. And I don't have to repeat this again. Like, uh, this is just stupid. And I'm glad Sky is telling Bloom straight. Like, they're gonna help you whether they want it or not. But I do have a little asterisk on that. Like, If you're gonna help them, you're gonna have to help them if they need you. And like knowing the task at hand, that's when I feel like you should step in. For this instance, like the girls don't need you. All they need to do is like turn the monsters back into fairy pets. But what the specialist could do is like keep the monsters busy while the Winx figure out an antidote. But also, I don't think they needed a specialist to do this. All they just needed is like three or out of the six girls to distract the monsters, while the other remaining three are like figuring out what to do. Well, mainly Flora, Techna, and Layla. Well, they need Techna like coming up with an idea, and like they need Layla for the like the bowl, and then Flora needs to like create food for the fairy pets. And Bloom, Stella, and Misa could hold off the monsters. And with that, the monsters turn back into the fairy pets. But while they have that solved, they do have one issue though. Missy has taken one of their pets. If the fairy pet turns into a monster, Missy's going to be in trouble. So the Winx and the specialist take off. Obviously, the fairy's gonna fly. However, the specialists take their car from the shop. And I can't lie to you, this looks really goofy as hell. Ideally, a car will fit 5 people, like 2 in the front, 3 in the back. So this really looks goofy with 4 of them in the back. Like this looks really cramped. Like Healy and Timmy are squished in the side, and Sky and Brandon are squished in the middle. They should get like a Range Rover or something. In the next scene, we arrive at Mitzi's house. I'm not much fan of Missy's voice in season 4. Like comparing this to the Nick version, I think the Nick version like she sounds better. I think Daniela Monet does a better impression on Mitzi. When I'm hearing her voice from like voice in season 4 in the Ray version, um, it doesn't sound like it's her voice. And yes, Daniela Monet voices Mitzi in the Nick version. And yes, she is the actress of Trina Vega in Victorious, which is fun for me. It's like one of my favorite shows. Right now, I think the actress of like Tori Vega, Victoria Justice, I think she would benefit in doing voice acting right now because I don't think she has much to do. I haven't seen her in a lot of shows recently, so I think if I was Victoria Justice, I would do some voice acting. That would be nice. So the Winx are trying to retrieve this pet from Mitzi without giving away their identity. And Mitzi is a bad idea to reveal your identity, like she is the type of person who will spread the gossip. So I don't think Bloom can trust Mitzi on that. Anyway, Missy tries to leave and try to show her friends her pet, but they can't catch her on time because she rode off with her motorbike, and they can't transform with their like enchantix either. So they're in trouble for this. We then have the scene where like the specialists are coming in with the car. The Winx need to take a ride, and I don't think the car will fit all 12 people. It wouldn't even fit 6 people, let alone 12. Like, remember my point where I said, like, cars only fit 5 people? You wouldn't fit, like, 6 people in a car. But luckily, we have Nabu here. He's our best boy, and he turns this car into, like, a truck. I love Nabi for this, and yes, he is amazing. I will say Nabi is like one of my favorite specialists, and it's nice when he's doing something like this. I mean, he should have turned the car into a jeep before, because in that way, like all 6 of them could fit in this jeep or something. I think it's a jeep or a truck. I don't know. It could be a truck. Look, I'm not explaining car things. I also love this interaction between Layla and Nabu. It's just so sweet and wholesome, and I wish other relationships in this season was just as good. They arrive and they try to help Mitzi, and like the fairy pest does turn into a monster. Like, shouldn't Mitzi be suspicious of this? Why don't we turn the monster back into a fairy pet without Mitzi seeing them? Like, if I was a specialist, I would take Mitzi to a different place, so she doesn't have to see what the girls are doing. We could just have the specialists, taking Mitzi to our safety. So Missy totally saw that, right? And she says that she's grateful for the specialist for rescuing them. Well, particularly Brandon, and she ends up kissing Brandon on the cheek. And great, Stella's giving me another reason why I hate this episode, and this is it. Like Stella clearly saw Missy kissing Brandon. Brandon did not kiss Missy. And then Stella's mad at Brandon for this. It doesn't make sense. It's just pure stupidity. Why did they put this in this episode, in this entire show? This makes me angry, like literally. And also, Stella would not be mad at Brandon for this. They made a game out of their relationship in season 2. I can't believe, at this point, this is where the show is trying to ruin one of the best relationships in Winx Club. Like Stella and Brandon would probably be one of my favorite couples in Winx Club. And if not, this is the fan favorite couple, and I can understand why. If I have to say what my favorite couple are, that would be Timmy and Tekna, followed by Nabu and Layla. But Stella and Brandon is my third favorite. But I can understand why, because with throughout season 1 to season 3, Stella and Brandon's relationship has been so fun, and they're the most romantic couple, the best couple you could ever find. Remember the incident in season 2 in the Amnesia subplot? I think that was really romantic of Stella and Brandon showing their true love to each other. And then there's season 3 where Brandon helped Stella break her beast self. But this is a reason why Stella and Brandon is not at my top, because they tanked a bit because of this. Throughout season 4 onwards, the writers give Stella and Brandon terrible writing. They have given them bad writing before, in season 5 and 6. So that has been happening. So yeah, I am kind of mad at this. Anyway, Stella calls Brandon a cheater, even though he really didn't cheat. And then she tried to threaten Mitzi by telling her that she's gonna turn her into a toad. First of all, you're giving away your identity as a fairy. You're not supposed to be doing that. But this makes Stella look like a villain. Okay, you can say Missy is antagonist, but she didn't know that Stella and Brandon were together. And even this was even if Missy did kiss Brandon, I wouldn't mind that. Sometimes you kiss someone because they saved you. And honestly, that could be it as well. Stella was out of line here. And then Brandon really told her, she jumped into a conclusion without knowing what really happened. But I don't think she just jumped into conclusion. She saw what happened. Also, Brandon is a great guy. He deserves better than this. Stella should know better. She shouldn't doubt Brandon like this. And when Brandon says that, Stella bursts out crying and starts running off. You know what? I hope she drinks poison. And then there's this bit with Bloom and Sky. So Bloom thanks Sky and the specialist for helping them. So I guess you did need them. And this bit also annoyed me as well. Like Bloom was about to say something to Sky, but like she didn't want to say anything. But I feel like, Bloom was about to apologize to the specialist, which, she should have done. They all should have done. Like, you were rude to the specialist and you pushed them away for no reason. Like, they deserve to hear an apology from you. Also, the lack of communication is really unbearable. So the specialist returned to the work with the jeep or whatever. I'm not a car expert, so I do not know the technical terms. So Mr. Oil obviously isn't pleased that they turned the car into this jeep or whatever. So he fires them all. I think that's pretty like straightforward, unfair. Like they did do this. Uh, they're not good at this, are they? So Sky, pays back, Mr. Oil, and he lets the boys, keep the car. I think, that's, pretty useful then. Like, at least they have a car with them. So, if the girls need a ride, they can, call the specialists. But unfortunately, because they are fired, they are now broke. But that it's not all lost because Timmy has a job now and he works at an electronic shop, which is great. I am proud of my boy. Timmy is the best boy. Yes, I love Timmy. But this makes me wonder if like the other specialists could have like a different job, like that would be interesting to you, as well as the girls. Like that would be interesting. Like if I was, I don't know, Sky, maybe work at a sports shop. I think he strikes me as a person who would work in like sporting goods shops. Maybe Brandon could like I don't know work out at McDonald's or like a takeaway or something, because they would hire people. But I feel like, this mechanic shop would work for Riven. However, like I can understand like why the specialist wouldn't, able to work in mechanic shop like this. It's because, it's on Earth. And, they didn't grow up in this. So like if Riven did grow up on Earth, I think he would, do well in this mechanic job. I imagine like if he wasn't like Magix, he would do better at this because I don't know. River strikes me as a car person anyway. Maybe Helia could do some gigs with his poetry or art things, and maybe Nabi could do some magic tricks. Like I know that people don't believe in magics, but here's a thing: we do have magicians on Earth. So like what Nabi could do is like pretend to be like a magician, like be like an illusionist. That's what he could have done. So much fun ideas. And I guess that's it for this video. I'm finished reviewing this episode. I really hated this episode. I can't tell you. But it's time to summarize everything about this, episode, giving my favorite and least favorite part of this episode. Well, my favorite part of this episode is definitely where, like, uh, Ogron is, congratulating Demon. It was such a bro moment between them, and I find the Wizard of the Black Circle really wholesome, even though they are the villains. They're like bros, and I would love to hang with them if they were real. At this point, though, like my favorite characters from season 4 tends to be the wizards. Like the Winx and the specialists have been annoying me. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The specialists themselves has also been annoying me. It's not just this episode, but like I said it from like episode 1 and 2. Like they're always stuck by the Winx all the time. And it feels unnatural. Like, why are the specialists always with the Winx? That's always been my problem for like season 4 onwards. But my least favorite thing about this episode is definitely where like the Winx being completely bratty towards the specialist. Like I understand that you don't need the specialist, and I can clearly see like yeah, sometimes like most times the Winx don't need the specialist. But the Winx come across like rude and bitchy towards the specialist for no reason. And that is what I can't tolerate with the Winx. And the fact that like the Winx lack like they don't apologize, it makes them lack self-awareness. Like it makes them seem like narcissistic. Like for example, Bloom was about to apologize to Sky, but obviously like she didn't want to say that. She didn't want to admit that she's like apologetic or she's in the wrong. And the Stella and Brandon drama, like that was so stupid. Brandon would never do something like that, and like Stella being mad at Brandon like that, he deserves better. My boy deserves better. Like Brandon has done nothing but been a good boyfriend to Stella. Anyway, I guess that's it for this review. If you like this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and have a lovely day.